premier NFL talents now wanting premier money. They want their due. Jalen Ramsey and Chris Jones both having contract negotiations, not necessarily wanting to show up to camp because they want their due. They are great players. They've proven through 3 years now in the NFL that they can play outstanding in this league, and now they're going to their team saying, we want more money.
Yeah, and we've seen this with some other players. And we've Carson Wentz, he's getting re-upped. So I think we're seeing NFL players just say, look, we're to the tail end of our rookie contract. We want to start looking forward. And both players, they're deserving. They're both, top 20 to 25 players in the NFL per the PFF 50. Especially Chris Jones just came in at number 20, and he has now developed into one of the very best interior pass rushers in the entire NFL. You got to look even beyond the 16 sacks that we gave him last year, 74 total pressures, a 90-plus pass rush grade. He still plays the run extremely well. So Chris Jones has certainly put himself in the conversation. Not exactly Aaron Donald or Fletcher Cox yet, but maybe on his way to that type of level.
Looking specifically at Chris Jones, writing an article for ProFootballFocus.com, his year 3 grade, his career high, 91.5, I think pass rush grade it was, ranks 3rd in the PFF era among third-year players. Aaron Donald and Geno Atkins are the only 2 other interior defenders that have earned higher pass rush grades as third-year players. And I think Chris Jones is going to enter that conversation of the Aaron Donalds and Fletcher Coxes of the world. Maybe he's not there yet, but across his next contract, he could pass up Donald, take the torch from him, and I think that deserves money. I think Kansas City needs to pay him as soon as possible.
Yeah, and he's been one of those guys that we saw coming out of the draft and said, look, he had just under 1,000 snaps at Mississippi State with elite grading, but he didn't have the sack totals necessarily. But when you look at the PFF grades coming out of college, it actually projected to what he's done at the NFL level. So you've got that baseline, plus continued improvement at the NFL level. We've got pretty much 5 years of top-notch grading from Chris Jones now that says he's going to be a very good player. So I think it's a safe bet for the Kansas City Chiefs. The question, though, is just how much money do you want to invest in that type of position? We always debate pass rush versus coverage, and where should all that money go? So it's tough because he's going to want that top 5, interior D lineman type of money. But absolutely, feel confident that he's going to be one of those top 5 type of defensive linemen moving forward.
And I'm glad you brought up the college grading. Mike Renner, our lead draft analyst, is on the books for saying in the office that Chris Jones is a top 5 talent. He was appalled that he fell to the second round, called him a steal to the Chiefs, and he's very much proved him right. And moving to Jalen Ramsey, a first-round pick a couple years ago, this guy's also wanting his money. Even coming after a down year last year from his standards, he is still a premier cornerback. And as we've seen, coverage matters more than pass rush. If you have a guy like Jalen Ramsey under contract, you need to pay this man, extend this man.
Yeah, so that's the key here is we talk about coverage over pass rush, and when you have a Jalen Ramsey on one side of the field, there's a trickle-down effect to everyone else on the field. And when you mentioned the down year, 72.8 grade last year, but a 91.3 in 2017, and we've seen coverage grades for corners, they can fluctuate a little bit year over year, but you've got this baseline of skill that Jalen Ramsey has, the ability to play press. He can play off. Movement skills are fantastic. He tackles well. So the overall package of Jalen Ramsey is as good as it gets in the NFL. We had him just behind Stephon Gilmore in the PFF 50 moving forward. They're the top 2 corners in the NFL by our mind, and Gilmore's got a few more years on Ramsey. So Ramsey's kind of the premier young cornerback talent. He's the type of guy we would take in the top 5 again in the draft every single year. So when you have him, I think it does make sense to lock him up, and maybe you steal a couple of those free agent years at a little bit of a cheaper cost. So it would make a lot of sense for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let him be the foundation on one side of the field and then build around him.
So I feel like the question is, for Chris Jones and Jalen Ramsey, are you paying them top money as the Jags and Chiefs?
With Jalen Ramsey, I say yes. I feel pretty good about his prospects going forward. Chris Jones, I also say yes, but you also have to, you've got to weigh it a little bit. I don't know if you want to give him the top overall interior D lineman money, but both guys well-deserving, top 20 to 25 players in the league, as we said, and 2 of the best at their position.
Well, there you have it. To see where Chris Jones and Jalen Ramsey rank in the PFF 50, go to ProFootballFocus.com, and while you're there, sign up for the Elite free trial that we'll be running from now until June 18th. Get access to all the advanced stats and grades we speak to. This has been Steve Palazzolo and Austin Gayle.